Well, a drain field installed back here. I had a moat back here for a while. Because it was grafting season when this all went down. That's when things break usually. So I just didn't get to it right away. And I had some other projects that took priority, but I got back on it. So anyway, what happened here was, you've seen in the previous video that a spring started running back there this spring, and I wanted to get that water out and away from my shop because this land is slipping around here and I don't want it to slip under my shop. But I went down and got about 1.5 yards of drain rock. Shoveled about 1 yard of that gravel, and I've got enough left over for a project over at my son's house. Yeah, that's about 1/2 yard there. So anyway, now I can get my mess cleaned up. I just piled stuff everywhere here to get it out of the way so I could get in with the backhoe. And now I smoothed it out with the bucket, and it looks pretty good. You know, I'm going to take the rake and knock down these little edges here, and I think I might order up a truckload of gravel and lay out some 5/8 minus back here. So I'll be walking in the mud when it rains and kind of runs in from that end down there. It'd be nice to have that all graveled. But that little tractor sure has been good to me. I have just beat it to death, but I don't know what year that thing is. It's not new. It's 80 something, 83 model, or I don't know, somewhere in there. It's an old one, but it sure don't owe me anything. My first memory of any kind of tractor that my dad had was he bought a Ford 9N when I was probably 6 years old, and up until that time he farmed with a mule.
Well, here's the mule. Well, that's my uncle on the left, and my dad's trying to coax his neighbor into going for a ride on that little cart. By the way, that's the mule in front. His name was Old Pete, and I never heard my dad call him just Pete. It was always Old Pete. That's my mother and father in the center, and they're visiting some friends that actually came from Wenatchee, Washington, to visit them at their farm in the Ozark Mountains where they lived at the time. Now that's the house we lived in until I was 12 years old. And when I was a little kid, I had no idea that we were poor. I thought everybody lived in an old slab shack with black tar paper on the outside. Now the reason I posted these photos is because of that 3-piece suit. Now my dad loved to trade, so he traded that 3-piece suit you see here for that mule in the previous photograph. And of course that's yours truly sitting on the back of said mule. And after my dad would finish working with the mule, plowing or whatever, when he'd lead him down to the pond to get a drink of water, he'd throw me up on the back of the mule. And I loved to ride, but I hated when that mule put his neck down to drink out of the pond. It just scared me to death. I thought I was going to slide down that long neck all the way into the pond.
And we just had a little tiny farm down in the Ozark Mountains. There were lots of little 100-acre farms in that area, and people scratched out a living on their little farms, and my father was no exception. He was quite an entrepreneur. And I'm going to get a rake now, kind of rake down these little ridges and smooth that out a little bit. It smoothed out pretty good with the bucket, but I reckon that's enough for now. I'm rambling, and I'm going to try yet to get that backhoe off there today and get the mower on. We'll see how it goes. Playing with my toys. You know, there's just not enough hours in the day for all the fun things that I want to do.